Hey, Kaz, how you doing?
Hey there. I love our new intro. You did a really good job of creating that.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sweet, short and sweet and to the point and very upbeat music. So
Yes.
I like that.
Someone told me I should do that.
Did they? I wonder who that might have been.
Yeah, I
Huh.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Eh,
forgot, huh?
yeah, I forgot. So, how was your vacation and time
Oh,
off?
you mean my time off? Honestly, or do you want me to fake it?
Well, this is about
Given
real stuff. Let's not
Yeah, it is
fake it,
about
right? Yeah.
until the day after Christmas, Boxing Day for us too,
Mhm.
Canadians, people from the UK. It was really good. And then the day after Christmas, I lost one of my son and me, one of the most important people in our lives, suddenly, unexpectedly, who yeah, just has made a major contribution to the world as a historian and in the arts and a choreographer and a writer and a songwriter, and it was really devastating. And I told you backstage I was looking forward to doing this because it lifts my spirits. And yeah, there's a lot being I'm going to be traveling because there's a lot being planned, because every life he touched was it was such a gift. He Everything he helped anyone with, he always just said pay it forward. And yeah, I mean, his CV is it spans all over the world. Um, and he really made a major contribution to the African American and the African Irish community, African American in the States and African Irish community, obviously in Ireland. So I've been dealing with that, and I've found people to be so loving and kind and supportive. And at one point, on Substack especially, at one point I asked, "Can somebody please tell me a joke? Can somebody please make me laugh?" And then Lynn Broderick told another person, "Please send Cass." I think his name is Christopher. Chris or Christopher, something funny. And he did, and it was really funny and it helped. So, everyone out there on Substack who has been so loving and kind and supportive of me, thank you so much. And you have been dealing with being sick, unfortunately.
For
How are you
over 2 weeks.
feeling?
Over 2 weeks.
Golly,
I was
man,
bedridden for like a few days. So
we don't like that. You
yeah,
still have a
but
cough, though, right?
I still have a cough, kind of like still, but it's getting better every day. So
Oh, that's
gonna
good. That's,
um made some major changes to the show. Obviously, we have a new
yeah.
intro, we have a new outro.
And
We also
yeah.
I made a bunch of changes to my website. We talked about last before we went hiatus for a couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Hmm.
All those have been implemented. I'm having a hard time not writing.
Yeah, because you decided to cut it down and not be
Yeah.
writing every single
Well,
day.
focus more on certain things and but have everlasting have a more of an evergreen on those stories versus that's been one of the things I've been doing. So that's been a challenge for me. But I've
Yeah,
been
but you're making people clamor for your content now. Where's your content?
well,
So,
no, and then we also kicked off the whole. We finally figured out the name.
right.
That's a big, huge thing, which is going to start hopefully soon, which will be a combination of stuff where we'll be writing podcasts and hopefully it'll turn into some type of documentary down the road. But that's one of the things. And
Uh-huh.
then the hard truth is basically about single fathers. I'm finding there's a voice there that needs to be spoken more.
Mm-hmm.
And that came born out of my book called Earned, Not Given.
Not given.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, so there's been a couple things been developing, which has been kind of cool. So it's been less headache, but more strategic in the sense of writing and things like that. So
But
a
you
lot of
need to
things.
continue to focus on recovering from being sick for the last 2 weeks, first and foremost.
Well, that's yeah. Well, I'm still doing that, but yeah. But you,
Right.
I can't, I'm not a person that can sit still. My feet,
No.
the grass underneath my feet doesn't settle very long. So
Don't let it grow under your. No, I will go stir crazy. I will start,
yeah.
pacing. the house if I'm not. But my new podcast that I'm going to do, I've had not enough time for reflection. I'm still kind of just being, and I'm just I did post a little something saying, on Instagram, and I said, you know, please come by and say hi, just hi. I could really use it because right now I'm not posting, planning, pivoting, or what was the other P? Plotting. I'm just being right now. So yeah, I'm letting it percolate. There's another P. Uh, just to reveal to me. And Diane has been instrumental in discussing some things with me, which is a great segue into her.
So you want to tell a little bit about her?
I do. I do. I've been
Okay.
lucky to know her for a few years. I think it's going on 5 years now to know her, both in real life, IRL, and online. But yeah, she started in communications and she already had a career's worth of communications. And then she decided she wanted to leave that. And she has become an actor in commercials. And she's really very influential and knowledgeable in this stage of her life. And she's got this brand that I don't know if she's just working on it. I think well, for me, she actually did help me because it's called Pivot to Your Purpose. I hope that's right. Pivot to Your Purpose. And, when my purpose started to be questioned, going, am I really doing, what I really want to do, what I really feel inside, and what I'm really good at? So I went straight to the source. And boy, did she give me some really good input, very pointed, but kind and sharing. And so not only does when she's doing her work on the commercials and her influential work on Instagram, and she has sponsors, and she's just very pervasive and beautiful. She's doing this pivot to your purpose, and that I believe is going to be really powerful for her and for others for sure.
So should we invite her in?
Let's bring her in.
Okay.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing
So
well. How are
welcome to
you?
the show. We appreciate it. We're doing well, thank you.
Good to be
I
here.
hope
Um,
I didn't step into any of it
Not at all.
and miss. Okay, good, 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 good.
so where do we want to start? Like
Well, you know what?
you got a list
The
of stuff
interesting
going
thing
on.
is there's so much going on. Um, okay, when she has the name Diane Butts here in her frame, but she also when we advertised her, uh, I know her both as Diane Butts and as Diane Britt-Smith, and I said to her, "Do you want us to do the kind of pre-show marketing Britt Smith or Butts?" And she told me Britt Smith, but then she said, "Well, there's a story there," so I thought it's a very good segue to get her kicking off to talk about those two names.
Absolutely. So I'm a commercial actor. I've been a commercial actor for since I was about 40, and I'm 63 now. Off and on, career jumped in there in the middle in Washington, D.C. And I was Diane Butts and nothing but Diane Butts. Pardon the pun. My
That's fun.
husband's last name is Butts, and I took his name, my
There's a lot of
last
butt
name.
jokes about that.
Oh, you would not believe, which is where this story is going. My maiden name is Smith. My mother's maiden name is Britt, which is where the Diane Britt-Smith came from. Fast forward to my ending my first career after moving to New York when I was 58, 2019 or thereabout. And I decided to jump back into acting and modeling. Separately, relatedly or not, my children are actors as well. They are film and TV actors. I'm a commercial actor. Their names, their legal names, like mine, is Butts. But one of my sons learned that Butts is not friendly in a Google search, at least at the time. He's been in New York since 2015 and decided to change his name to Kyle Barry. His professional name is Kyle Berry. Second son comes along. Actually, it was reverse. The younger son came first. His first name is Derek, like his dad's, last name Butts. And he decided to take my mother's, my maiden name, my mother's married name, and took Smith. His middle name starts with a J, so he's Derek J. Smith. So 3 of the 4 of us are actors and have different last names. To your point, growing up, they were known as Little Butts and Big Butts.
Oh no.
They both have S's tattooed. They were NCAA Division I divers, and they each
Wow.
have tattoos, and I won't tell you where, with an S. So it's the coolest thing. I grew up with the last name Smith, and the best thing about going to Butts was that I went from being called on last to being called on near the top.
All
That's my
right.
my Butts to Britt-Smith story.
And her sons are A, gorgeous, but
Thank you.
B, and her husband is gorgeous. And look at her. I mean, come on. And they are really doing well now. They are really
Thank you.
working.
We're super
And I
proud of
am,
them.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great to see them just going for it. And you post a lot of what they're doing, television, film,
Mhm.
you name it. I mean, it's really great to see. It's a family affair.
Thank you.
Do you have
Thank
a
you.
chance to work with them at all?
Not yet. Actually, my older son and I did a project. We took a class together and we did a short film. When I say short film, it was a scene. But I first would like them to work together. My younger son has been doing this, like I said, for 10 years. He came right out of school, out of Virginia Tech to New York. Older son worked in his major, worked as a professional diver, and then came to New York. In their own right, they're doing great. And I think that they will be doing projects together. They also make music together and separately.
Okay.
So I think absolutely they need to get me in there as a cameo for something, walking across the stage or, whatever, the
Oh,
scene.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's
For
talk
sure.
about your transformation from DC, which is a world of politics and all that kind of stuff.
It didn't always be. It was
No,
not always that way.
I worked in DC myself, and I have to agree, yes, that wasn't the case. But now the
Yeah.
last 20 years or so. But what made you like that transformation from going from your normal 8 to 5,
Mhm.
10-ish, 12-hour days
Yes. Yes.
to to acting? I mean, that's a pretty big leap. What drove you there?
So actually, I worked at the Voice of America, which
Oh, okay,
is partially funded by the U.S. government.
yeah,
It is an outlier in that there was a firewall that separated the broadcasting part from the government control part. All of that's pretty much evaporated now, but when I was there, it was an incredible career.
right.
So my major in college was communications, radio, TV, film, and I got to produce videos for a living that changed people's lives in sub-Saharan Africa. My beat was sub-Saharan Africa. So we produced
Wow.
stories on all different kinds of topics, many related to health, some politics, but we helped people know how the polio vaccine could save their children. We helped them know about reproductive health, about cholera, all of those things. So I had an incredibly fulfilling career as a storyteller, as a video producer. And again, I was in front of the camera a little bit during that job, and somebody suggested in DC that I try out to be an extra or background for America's Most Wanted. So I said, okay. So I tried out. This was before I became a manager. So I went and I auditioned for it, and I got to be in an episode of America's Most Wanted. Gave me the acting bug. I started doing some commercials, auditioning here and there and doing commercials. And then in order to move up in any job, you need to move into leadership and management. So once I made that leap, I couldn't leave to go to in-person auditions in Baltimore or Falls Church, Virginia, or
Yeah,
wherever. So I put a pause on it. COVID, my mother died in 2019, and that was a chance for me to think about asking my husband to think about adding a New York City residence and so we would go back and forth to and from DC. That worked out very nicely. We had a small apartment in Manhattan and kept going back and forth. COVID happened, and I decided that my wonderful job was no longer as fun as it used to be. So I
Was
decided
it
to pull the
the
plug.
was it more like the corporate feeling of like you can never fulfill the
No.
request, or what was the?
So my job was antithetical to anything corporate and anything government. When I say Voice of America as a TV producer was an outlier, we functioned like it's a news organization. So we functioned like other news organizations, with the exception of it was funded by the US government. So
Yeah.
fair, balanced, and objective reporting, two sourced, and it was, like working for any other news organization or independent. You might compare it to um, a PBS station or NPR, but we didn't have anybody hovering, saying you have to report on it. So I'm a creative at my heart, I think, and a storyteller, although we never labeled that. Labels are, so I got to produce stories. I'm also a photographer, and I
Oh, I wanted
became
to get to
a
that. She's amazing.
yeah, oh, thank you. I became a street portrait photographer in DC and picked that up when I was in earnest in New York City, because everywhere you look, there is something to shoot, something and somebody to shoot who has a compelling story. So that started driving my soul. So when I started Instagram again in earnest, talent casting agents started reaching out to me asking if I would sign with them. This was when I had made the decision to retire early from the Voice of America and jump into it. So all of it sort of converged, but the foundation and the connection inextricably linked as storytelling. So,
Hmm.
as a video producer, as a street portrait photographer, and what we haven't talked about is my job as a content creator or influencer, whatever you want to call it. Influencer used to have a bad name, it does not. And again, I'm not big on labels.
So we can say safely the reason why you jumped was more following your passion.
Yes, the reason we made the move here is because my husband's parents live 2 hours north in Connecticut. Our children are here, and I'm an only child, and it is hugely important for me to be near them
Mm.
so we don't see them that often, but I want to be able to connect with them all the time. Like my younger son is taking a big trip today, and we were able to have lunch with him yesterday. So that's
Ah.
very important. They didn't come to DC very often. We were always in New York, so it just made sense. So all of it just sort of flowed,
Yeah,
and that's how we landed here.
basically a natural progression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've been really had the honor to be with her when she's done some of her street photography and to see exactly how she does it and how she approaches people and what she says and the product. And you have such an amazing way with people.
Oh,
What
thank
you
you.
say when you initially encounter them, how you say it, and then getting them to have their picture taken. I mean, I would love to talk about that
Sure.
for a few moments. Your whole
Sure.
kind of it's not a technique, an experience. I have to say, just watching it,
Thank
it's
you.
totally experience. Yes,
I
please.
remember that day. We had a good time. We were
Yeah, we
walking
had
on
a
High
fabulous
Line.
time.
So anybody who's been to New York City knows what an incredibly awesome city this is. Just a top to bottom. It is, in my view, the world's best city. Everybody obviously doesn't feel that way. So everywhere you look, there is something to see, something to shoot. I saw a year or so ago a man in the middle of the workday dressed in a suit, looked like he walked out of a Brooks Brothers commercial, and he had on stilettos. I was like, I have to shoot this guy. I need to know the story behind that. Turns out there is no story. That's just the way he likes to dress. Today, I came out of the nail salon and there was a guy with these beautiful chrome nails, full beard, hair. Everywhere you look, There's something to see, something to shoot. Storyteller, there's a story behind that. What is it? Can I talk to you and can you share it with me? So before, it's with my DSLR, my Fujifilm X-T5, and then when I became more of a content creator, I started adding video. So I shoot with my phone. I am a people watcher. The day Kaz and I were walking on the High Line, something caught my eye. It was a lady who was dressed incredibly. So I was like, Kaz, just give me 1 second. Walked over to her and asked her about her outfit, not like a canvasser, because New York City is full of canvassers. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I just want to talk to you about your story. I believe everybody has a compelling story. What made you dress that way this morning? What made you put the stripes with this pattern and that pattern, and why'd you choose those sunnies, all of that? Or what's your story? And you can tell somebody's vibe and whether they want to be approached. New York City is also full of people who love to be photographed. Take my picture. I know I look good. So it is easy. I'm an extroverted introvert, so it is fairly easy for me to approach people once I know that they are likely to say yes. Every now and then I get somebody who's not, but that's how I do what I do and why I love it.
So when you
That's
gather all these pictures and these stories, where do you post them?
So I have a separate Instagram account called DB2 Captures,
Okay.
and the portraits go there. For my videos, which is mostly what I do now, I do very little street portrait photography with my DSLR, because the lens that I use is very heavy. It's a 50 millimeter
Mm.
1.0, so it's extremely heavy. Beautiful lens. But as wonderful as it is to hear someone's story and write about it, which is what I did in for my Instagram account DB2 Captures, to hear them talk about it, to see their expressions when they talk about it. And I use those stories on my main Instagram, but they are, for the most part, confined to my niche, my current niche for Instagram, which is positive aging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
You are I'm not someone who's in love with the word influencer, but I do love the words content creator because I'm a creator and I always have been. And creating is such, I think you can influence by doing that content creation, and don't even, it doesn't even have to be pointed out. It's happening. it's
Mhm.
it's it's just occurring naturally by what you're doing, whether it's your commercials or what you're doing with your DSLR now, or working with your sponsors and all of that. I
Kaz,
think
let's talk about before you go on to that, let's talk about that word influencing, because I think now is the perfect time. That's a
sure.
word that I would run from before, because what we knew of people that you see on the street.
Right. Oh.
Narcissistic. And I was very turned off by it, and which is one of the reasons that word became a negative word. And for a person who doesn't like labels, influencer turned me off. It no longer does. In our conversation as friends, we've talked about a bunch of personal things recently, and you
Yes.
have influenced me to think about this. I may influence you to think about wearing, a green sweater or something. It is not a bad word, and we need to normalize it. This is my opinion only, which is why I have now started to pepper my conversations. I call myself a content creator. I am a content creator, but I realize we do have influence. And I know that every time somebody writes me and tells me that I have influenced them to improve their lives, to declutter their house, to let their hair go gray, and to buy these very cute shoes, that's influence.
To me, how you just put it in a whole different perspective, because people are constantly influencing each other. For
Absolutely.
me, it's you do it so naturally. It's not put on. It's
Thank you.
not like you said, narcissistic. It's not, oh, look at me and look how fabulous I am and how I'm doing and where I am and what I'm doing. Yours is just you being you as a creator. But how you just put it, I can, because you definitely influence me in a very positive way. So I can put it in a different perspective because of what you said. But I
I feel
still
the
think
same way about you. Yeah.
it's still a bit compartmentalized,
Yes, yes.
you know. But your definition, I absolutely can get on board with for sure. So, oh, what else I want? Shall we go? Because I want to talk about that too, how you've developed your Instagram and how long it took and how it ended up helping you to get these sponsorships and to get these products that you're working with. But I also really, I want to see what time it is, really want to talk about pivot to your purpose, because I came to you a couple of days ago, I know, right after my brother died, I think only a couple of days, and said, I really, really need to talk to you about X, Y, and Z. And you were so genuine and honest and transparent, because you revealed some things to me about you that we actually have very much in common.
Hmm.
And they're not negative at all.
Yeah, they
They're,
just are.
you know,
Yeah.
they just are.
Yeah.
Exactly. So would you want to first talk about your evolution with your Instagram, or do you want to
Yes.
go? Okay, let's do
Yeah.
that.
And then we can talk about pivot to your purpose, which is all,
Okay.
again, it's inextricably linked.
Linked.
So
Yes.
I started with my DB2 captures, and I had a personal page. I think it was called Diane Butts at the time. And I would just post, my kids and I at a restaurant or whatever, just regular stuff without any thought about it being a niche. I started consuming more Instagram, personal Instagram, my friends, and I see people with these cute dresses on. Oh, I have a cute dress. Let me model my cute dress. So I get there, and all of a sudden, I don't know, something like 50 or 60 people liked my cute dress. Was like, wait a gosh darn minute here. So I did it again. They liked my cute dress. This was in 2023. Then
Oh,
again,
I
no,
remember this. I
yeah, no
totally remember
systematic
this.
anything, just cute
Yeah.
dress. And then
Yeah.
I realized some people are talking, they have some message. So I started talking about, I don't even remember what it was, something benign, but important to me as a postmenopausal woman, all these different things, come into your orbit. So I started talking while I'm putting on the cute dress. More and more people like it. I started consuming more Instagram. I am getting influenced and encouraged and inspired by people who are letting their hair go gray, as there's a name for it, grombre. So they let the dye grow out. So
Yes.
if I've been dyeing my hair, I let it grow out. So a quarter of it, then half of it, three quarters is gray, and then the tips are white. It's fascinating to see.
Right.
So I started like following them. I couldn't relate to that because my hair, I never colored it. So I started consuming more of that and encouraging people who wanted to let their hair go gray, because it is a very, very difficult and significant thing to let your hair go gray. It's the whole psychology of it. Fascinating to
Mm-hmm.
me. So
Mm-hmm.
back and forth, how did you do that? Why do you have this haircut, et cetera, et cetera. So it just sort of, I was making friends. And then I realized I can do more and more of this and grow a little bit. I guess that was in 2024. And brands started reaching out, partly probably because I don't have trouble talking to the camera. So they realized that I'd done a bunch of different things. And so they reached out to me to sell their products. So that's how brand partnerships started. I'm going to take a second to say this. This is difficult work. I love to shoot
Yes.
and I love to edit. That is my zone. I love editing videos. It's a problem because it takes up a lot of time. And I can't, like my husband said, did you get your stuff together for the taxes? No, because I've been editing this video. Are you gonna
Right.
make some dinner? Anyway, so I absolutely love it, and it takes up a lot of time. So you have to balance your life, but people really don't understand how long it takes to someone my age, and ageism is a thing,
Totally.
to do things like my son's girlfriend is an incredible editor. She edits like this, really creative stuff for her generation. It seems like they catch on to things much faster than we do. So it takes me a longer time, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So that feeds I think that comes through, and brands reach out for me to talk to my followers about Medicare, even though I'm not Medicare age yet.
Age. Hmm.
There's so many nuances to that. I mean, a scroll full of questions you need to ask. Or you should be drinking this protein shake because it's fantastic. So I have learned a lot about brand deals, and I don't um, take brand deals anymore that I don't fervently believe in.
Good for
And
you.
that was a very difficult, and sometimes you just don't know. As an actor, that's a whole different kettle of fish, because sometimes you don't know. But
Yep.
that makes it easy. If I like this boost or this Metamucil or this blush, it's easy to promote.
Right. Exactly. Well, I was going to say, you work so hard at this. This is definitely a full-time plus gig, but your work, if anybody is on Instagram, you're so prolific
Oh,
and it's so beautiful. It's so well curated, and you
thank
put a
you.
lot of thought into it. You're just not getting on camera and saying whatever, whatever, whatever. I mean, you and I met through a positive aging women's group.
Yes,
And since then we've that has dissipated,
hmm,
but we've still remained friends. But
absolutely.
there's what you're doing. I mean, your hair is absolutely stunning. How you get it.
Thank
She even did a video about how she specifically has her hair cut. And at times people are not cutting it properly. And then somebody will. But this is a style all her own. And I think that's another important point to make. Be yourself,
Yes,
just be fearless as much as, I
yes.
mean, fearlessly fearful or fearfully fearless, whatever that, I
I
mean,
like
that's been
that.
me.
I like
I've
that.
quaked in my boots so many times, but still went ahead and did it. It was a
Yes.
success. It did well. Sometimes it didn't, but I
Yeah.
wanted to be fearlessly fearful or fearfully
Yes.
fearful,
Yeah.
and you have really, um, you didn't even parlay it, because it seemed to be, you said you were, I was just kind of testing the waters and I posted something that I thought was cute. And
Mhm.
then this happened and this happened and this happened. But now I think you're very conscious of what your message is, what your brand is, how you want to present what you do. Very, very conscious about that. And I think that's why it stands out. Not only because you're a wonderful representative for women 50 and over, 55 and over, very together. You have a great marriage, you have a great relationship with your kids, and you are someone who can be a wonderful example to other women, for sure.
As my generation used to say, Cass, let me write you a check.
I
Young
will
people
take
don't know
it.
anything about that. They know Zelle and WhatsApp, I mean, Cash App and all that. But thank you so much. You are a
I can't
sweetheart.
even say, yeah, PayPal me. That's
Yeah.
past, Venmo me, Zelle me. Yeah,
Thank
exactly,
you.
exactly. So, John, do you have questions, or you're just
No, you're just
smiling
taking
and,
on the show. Go for it. You're doing well. You're asking all the questions.
oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We
Well, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we haven't talked too much about positive aging, which is the foundation for what I'm doing now in terms of Instagram, which is why it is so natural. I share, just like every social media content creator, we share a portion of our lives, not the whole thing. People think they really know you, and they might, but they may not. But the things that we share, whether it's, John, close your ears, feminine stuff, or why do my husband and I keep arguing over the same thing? or those kinds of things. Why am I gaining weight when I'm eating lettuce and water? Those kinds of things we share, and it's very easy to compare notes. Everybody doesn't share their story, but everybody that follows me, they say that they get something out of what I say that they can relate to. For example, decluttering. So my husband and I have moved. He's a sweetheart. He is a saint. We've moved a million times, and I do mean your situation is a little bit different, Cass, but we have moved, and he has said yes every single time. But it allows you to declutter, because
Yes.
a small apartment, we don't have much space. So I'm always asking him, let's clean out this closet. Let's go to the storage unit. He probably wants to lock me in the storage unit. We go so often. But things that people don't, who live in a big house, don't think about. You don't have to get rid of those business suits that you wore 30 years ago. I do, because I don't have space for them and they don't fit. So we talk about things like that, and how, for example, decluttering your space declutters your mind,
Oh,
your
yeah.
soul, your heart, and you don't even realize it. So if you have an ADHD brain like mine, I start my day with a clean desk and have for 40 some years. I just can't function otherwise. Other people, they don't need to do that. But anyway, we talk about all of those things. Body positivity, which evidently is not such a great term anymore. I'm not sure why. Again, it's a label I don't really care too much. But I can wear a short skirt if I want to wear a short skirt, or I could wear a maxi skirt, or I can wear, plaids and stripes, as we've talked about. That's been one of the
Right.
most wonderful things about being on Instagram and talking to people. You are free to wear whatever you want.
Well,
Exactly.
well, the
Exactly.
age thing comes from both sides. It's not just a female, it's a male, and it's both genders.
Yes.
And, when you talk about the gaining weight and all that, men face those issues.
Yes.
Maybe not similar to a female side, but more, we struggle with belly fat that we're
Yep.
trying to get rid of.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
losing testosterone as you age, which
Yes.
is awful for men.
and one of the things that I noticed, well, actually, when I was sick and I had a fever and all that, I knew to go on a detox
Yes.
and not starve. My attitude was starve whatever I was having because
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
it was not serving me right. Part of it was sugar intake, obviously during the holidays.
mm, mm,
Yes.
mm,
And
mm,
one
mm,
of the
mm,
things I
mm,
thought about was that you know sugar obviously inflames your body more. Depends on the sugar and all those other toxic things that come in your body. One of the things that I learned about it, I was like, well, not learning, but one of the things I come to realize that that type of food or any type you like processed food, things like that, it really will make you sick.
Yes.
So when your body is in a state of emergency, like flu, cold, or whatever, the best thing to do is detox, and that's
Yep.
actually go into a fast
Yep.
because that can quickly fix your body. And because what you're doing is you're flushing out your kidneys, you're flushing out
Mhm.
your livers, you're flushing out things. And obviously, you got to talk to a doctor to do this. But for me, I've learned that's the quickest way out of the danger zone because
Yes.
it's one way. And then cancer patients, the other one I was reading about, 21 days to get them out of stage 4 cancer. And I don't remember what the cancer was, but it was pretty brutal. And 21 days plus they were on a fast and all they drank was water and light tea. And that's all they did.
Mm-hmm.
And, and obviously these are not, I don't, these are personal testimonials that I've read. And so they said they're not 100% cured, but they're out of the danger zone again. So my question is, I guess, is the thing is, I mean, we could look at historically, fasting seems to be like even like during the holy, like eventually we're going to reach the holy uh, area where people will take 40 days between Easter and whatever. Like, does that really like thinking about the fasting part of it? Like, there's gotta be a method behind it that, because why people keep going back to that. But then when we go and trying to treat it, we're filling with cough candies, or we're filling all these the cough syrups that are full of sugar and other things. So we're not really replacing anything. We're just we're just compounding the issue. Like, does that make sense? Like, I'm trying
It
to
makes sense. And I think that the amount of misinformation that's out there is very confusing. For example, I believe in sharing what's going on with me to the extent that I can. I was diagnosed with, I think it was 2 years ago, pre-diabetes. Not
Oh,
surprising because it runs in my family. I'm a healthy eater and I exercise. Why is this happening to me? Genetics, it could be. Doctor says don't lean on that. You have
ah,
every bit of control of your body. Nutritionists study differently than doctors. Your body is different from mine. If you lived in Japan and ate as Japanese people do, you wouldn't have the environmental issues. This is an example, and that may or may not make sense. Then when you come to the United States, all of that changes. Your heredity doesn't, but everything about your environment does, and now you're much more susceptible to things. Also, the lobby, the sugar lobby, for example,
oh
is
yeah.
strong. We're not going to get rid of,
Mm.
that information. Plus, we have more stressful lives. We don't exercise as much. When I say we, I'm talking about society. So there's a million reasons why these things are happening to us health-wise, including cancer. However, it is dangerous when people get on social media and say, this is the holy grail. You must do this. Don't ever do that. So when it came to pre-diabetes, I'm like, let me shut down the noise. Let me find out the real deal. Talk to my doctor, talk to my nutritionist. And I read a book called The Glucose Revolution. It changed my life.
that's such a good book.
Specifically, the order in which you eat your food. My A1C dropped, and I didn't even know about A1C. It dropped from 6.0 to 5.6. So I am no longer at the time pre-diabetic. If it starts to creep up, and I'm not an added sugar person, pretty much cut it out for the most part, but changing the order of my foods. But for us to say you must do this and you must do that, intermittent fasting is good. Let's just say that, but it is not good for everybody. Not good for a breast cancer patient, not good for somebody who has diabetes, all of these caveats. We owe
Right.
it to ourselves, our bodies, and our loved ones to go get the right information, and not just from Chat GPT. So
Yeah, do
my
your
doctor
due
says you do
diligence.
this, 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 and this. And my nutritionist says, well, think about this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
So one quick thing that surprised me, a use case, as they say. I believe in intergenerational, multi-generational relationships. So I have some mentees. One of them is a lawyer, one of the most intelligent, smart, savvy people I've ever met. She was trying to lose weight, and she did all these different things, and somehow the information came to her about that she should eat less sugar or something. She was surprised. She's like, oh, I didn't realize. So even people who have a million degrees may not realize that this particular thing is a trigger. So back to, we owe it to ourselves to partner with our doctors and our nutritionists to get to the bottom of our issues. My husband's a
Mm-hmm.
prostate cancer survivor. The
Me
things, and he
too.
mentors prostate cancer, he has a foundation and everything. The things he did to get his body ready for the surgery and post surgery recovery, incredible, incredible. But everybody can't do that. Everybody shouldn't have the surgery that he had based on
Mm-hmm.
where the cancer is. If
Right.
it's too
Mm-hmm.
close, this is in the weeds, but if it's too close to the nerves that control continence and ED, then you need
Mm-hmm.
another potential treatment. Again, that's just a, pull it out of my head kind of
Right.
thing. You owe it, bottom line, you owe it to your doctor. Don't be listening to these quacks, sorry, or people who have something to sell on TikTok. We can't do it.
Well,
Exactly.
Can't do it.
Exactly.
I fast because it works for me.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't recommend it. Like, I
For
fast for
everyone.
4 days,
Yeah.
I
and
would die. I
and
would just die.
And I'm kind of
Yeah.
fasting right now because I probably have one meal, and that's the best. That's all I want, and that's
Yeah, and that's listen to your body. Starve a fever. What
yeah.
is it?
Feed a
Feed a
cold and
cold,
starve
starve
a
a fever.
fever.
And
I
yeah,
I
you got
just
to
do
be
it
partners with your
naturally.
practitioner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do your due diligence. I intermittent fast naturally. I stop eating at X time at
Yep.
night, and I don't eat again until maybe 14 hours, could be
Yeah.
sometimes 16 hours later.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been through some stress since like the June, July this year until the end of the year. So I lost a lot of weight and
Hmm.
more than I needed, I wanted to, or should have. I don't want to should on myself, but so yeah. Sorry. But yeah, you're talking about, going back to talking about ultra processed food and sugar, it is medically proven that sugar won't give you cancer, but sugar will feed cancer.
Hmm.
So that's why we
Absolutely.
have to be very careful with sugar. My husband went through something similar like you did with being pre-diabetic, and we yanked it right back. My
Yes.
husband is also a prostate cancer survivor, surgery and everything. So there's commonalities
Yes.
between you and my husband and your husband and
Yes.
my husband and what we went through with our husbands, but
Yep.
different. He probably had different surgery. You're
Yeah.
dealing with your diabetes different than pre-diabetic, different than he did.
Yes.
Just you have to be an informed, conscious consumer, an advocate for your own
You
health.
do. And
Yeah.
as a Black person, the access we have to medical care is very different. There is less testing done on us, so there is not the amount of true research. And we often live in food deserts and places where we don't have access to good medical care. So there's a lot of misinformation. Fast food is cheap. It is
Yes.
what's accessible. So you add all of those things, you owe it to yourself to find out what's going on with you, with your doctor and your nutritionist.
Yep.
Don't
And
you wish
that's why
that?
I love
Don't you
you
wish they
talking
banned
about that.
fast food?
Sorry. Go ahead, John.
I just kind of wish we kind of go back to the world where just freshness is what we eat versus this stuff that they feed us.
So I agree with that. The problem is in disenfranchised neighborhoods, they don't have
No, I
those
know
Mhm.
things
it's hard for them to find that. Yeah, I get
and
it.
they can't afford it.
And everything may have been organic up until, before the Industrial Revolution, organic, but then people were living 35 years, 45 years.
Right. Exactly.
And medicine has come really, really, really far. It's definitely not curing everything. I mean, we still don't have a cure for Parkinson's. There are a
Right.
lot of things that there are billions of dollars have been, invested into the research, and it's gotten so far,
Yeah.
but there's no cure. So let's pivot to your purpose. Because
Love it.
I mean, you can just tell just by how educated you are. You've educated yourself,
Oh,
and I will testify, ad nauseum how helpful you are, just friend to friend. Call on you, and you are say the right thing at the right time, well, that I needed. So yeah, I mean,
and the
can
reverse
we?
is true, baby. The reverse
Oh,
is true.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But please, how did you come upon deciding this was something you wanted to jump into? I don't know if you really jumped or if it's been a longer process.
So I hadn't been really a long-term planner because I had such a fulfilling job. I never thought about retiring early to do something else. So it sort of hit me by surprise that that the time came that it's time for me to do something else. I didn't hesitate. I retired early. I left a bunch of money on the table, but I was no longer happy or fulfilled. So the universe sent casting agents to me to say, you want to sign with us? You want to be in this commercial, that commercial. So all of that converged. And I realized I had made a pivot and I
Mm,
didn't hesitate, just jumped feet first. I did have an overlap because it was during COVID. So I would take a day off here and there to research what it would be like to be a model or an actor in New York City, a silver haired, 5'1" Black woman, and how easy or difficult it would be for me to get work. So I did do that research, knowing that I had a pension coming and still a paycheck at that time. But things started to fall in place. I do believe in research. When people ask me, oh, I want to become an actor, or I want to, go into, I don't know, have a hair store or a flower business, do your research and then decide, maybe you overlap, and then you can pivot. My message has developed organically, because I believe in my soul that if you don't like what you pivoted to, you can pivot again, as long as you can pay your rent, put food on your table, and make some plan for the future, because I do believe we have to plan for the future. So that's how it happened with me, and things have just fallen into place. My message became, and I got a life coaching certificate so that I can do this work in the future. I am not actively coaching people now, but my message is, you are not too old and it is not too late to pivot to your purpose. We are all scared about something, even though we don't wear that or it doesn't come out of our mouths. But you can fake it till you make it, have confidence in yourself, do the research, and
100%.
make that pivot. And if that doesn't feed your soul, what else can you do? For example, my husband wanted me to consider, he's a photographer as well. He was an event photographer. He wanted me to become a professional photographer. He was like, you should do that. I thought about it. I was like, no, no. I love photography. I don't have any desire to be a professional photographer for a few reasons, including my learning curve. I don't want the pressure, probably not the best word, the obligation of, if I miss, it's in a 75-year-old birthday party and I miss the guest of honor coming down the aisle, I'm going to die. So I didn't want that pressure. So I decided I didn't want to do that. And he was finally okay with that, because he decided not to become a professional photographer. He's an engineer, a cyber engineer. So you just have to
Wow.
stay in touch with yourself and know what drives you, and don't just think that you are too old or it's too late, because there is some way, shape, or form that you can pivot to your purpose. And if that doesn't work, let me pivot again. I'll jump from Ninth Avenue to Sixth Avenue in a New York minute, pardon the pun, if this
Right.
doesn't bring me joy. And I believe that about everybody.
Yep. Yep. 100%. 100%. So, John, do you have anything? I think well, I saved your voice.
Yes, you did.
Anything else you'd like to ask, Diane?
Do you have any well, so for example, like when you talk about decluttering and all that, right? Um, in that world of decluttering, because I had to declutter this, because that's one of the things I did this winter, or the break, was I needed to tackle my office, declutter it, and kind of like get myself organized, because I couldn't stand it anymore. My brain was going nuts, and I couldn't work in here. I didn't feel comfortable. So, when you say declutter, there's more than just decluttering. You're opening up more space in your
Yes.
in your in your sphere, because you're
Yes.
allowing more energy to flow in,
Yes.
part of it, but also, a cluttered mind is a cluttered destination.
Yes. Yes.
Life.
My mother used to say that. She put it just like that. You need to, and my mother was not a hoarder, but she grew up in the Depression, and they didn't have much. So the minute she was making her own money, she started buying clothes. She started buying this, that, or the other. And when she was diagnosed with dementia at 80, she started hoarding. I'm going to say, use that word. It wasn't really physical hoarding, but she was in the senior living space. She would go to the kitchen and get all these saltines and put them in her walker basket. Reaching back to, I couldn't afford saltines, years ago. The demented
Mm.
mind, leads you there. But I think mine is, again, I have an ADHD brain. I can't function like that. Some people can close, have a junky hoarded room over here and just close the door and they're fine. Some people can exist in organized chaos and they're fine. Some people have, I don't know, 40,000 emails and they're just fine. I am not. So I think knowing yourself, self-awareness, and something we have not talked about here, but I'm sure it's part of the soul work that you all talk about, emotional intelligence. One of the best
Mm-hmm.
things we can do is get to know ourselves from the inside out. Go see a therapist, look in the mirror, don't fool yourself. This is what drives me. John has to declutter, Kaz has to declutter, but I'm okay with a little clutter because I'm changing lives. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I digress. But everybody, the point is everybody is different.
Right.
And we
Yep.
cannot, this is a big part of my Instagram positive aging. We can't judge anybody.
Mhm.
Don't tell somebody what they should or should not do. Because maybe I can eat 5 Snickers and be fine, and you can't do that. I can't tell you what to do. But I agree with you. A decluttered space leads to a decluttered mind, which opens up all kinds of possibilities.
Right. Actually, I got a
Mm-hmm.
story about Frank Sinatra. So back in the day when he was in Las Vegas, he was doing a show, and this lady waited in the entrance, waiting for him to come out, and she waited like 5 hours for him. And
Wow.
the reason why she waited that amount of time, because her husband was dying of cancer or something like that. There was something going on, and so she waited and waited, and the people knew that she was waiting for him. And then as the show ended, he was ready to go in the car, and he was kind of going in the car. And then this his partner, or his one of his agents, ran to the car door and said, "Hey Frank, this lady's been waiting here for 5 hours and just wants you to sign something. Are you open to do that?" He goes, "Oh my God, yeah, no problem." Gets out of the car, goes to the area that she was in, and and she starts telling about her husband. She always admired him, always wanted things. And she said, "Would you just mind signing?" "Oh my God, yes, not a problem." And then he takes off his gold cufflinks off and goes, "Give that to your husband." And then she's like, "Oh my God." Then obviously she's happy. And then he walks back, and his agent follows him in, goes in the car, and he says, "Frank, why would you give out your gold cufflinks?" And she goes, "When I die, someone else is going to have those. When I die, someone's going to live in my house. When someone
Yes.
dies, they're going to drive my car. Someone's going to wear my clothes. Someone's going
Yes.
to do something with something that I have. Why not give to somebody now that I know they
Yes.
will
Oh,
enjoy it
yeah.
better than I would when I die?"
I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. It's beautiful. Pay it forward too. That's
Yeah,
I
Yep.
believe in that. Pay it
That's
forward. Yeah.
yeah.
so much, so much, so much. Pay it forward. So,
So, anyways, let's talk about, like, we kind of like the last part of the show we want to talk about is what advice, or like people trying to get into acting, or they're trying to pivot. What is like the thing that you think would,
a
like,
takeaway
the
for
takeaway that
them.
you would think to be perfect for somebody to take away from the show?
I think that we've already talked about you're not too old and it's not too late.
Right.
But one
Yes.
of the things that a lot of people get hung up on is I wish I was younger. If I had done this, I could only do that. Oh, if I could go back. Start where you are with what you have and go forward. We have less time in front of us than we do behind us. What are you going to do with your time today? So I talked yesterday on Instagram about being sad. Somebody asked me if I'm always happy. I am a happy person. My son often says people like me have tail wagging energy, and I love that. But obviously, I am not always like that. But it dawned on me when we are down or we are sad, then if we think about two things: one, where we are right now, just be present and take it like Kaz's experience. Just accept it, but have something to look forward to. So whether
Yes.
that's the movie you're going to watch with your wife tonight, or your trip to the Bahamas next year you're saving for, have something to look forward to. We can't go back. We only have now. They say it's the present. It's the present of the present. So I think if we think about it that way, stay in the present and always have something to look forward to, you're going to think about what you want to pivot to. And then you can start to plan and you can put today's not so great news in perspective. My mother had a really good attitude about death. Death is a part of living. And when the good Lord is ready for me, she had dementia for 15 years. She was ready to go. She said, "You'll be fine, Diane." And I
Oh,
was. So I've
oh,
never thought about death as a negative thing because she didn't. The good Lord tapped her on her shoulder, just like your brother. You weren't ready, but if you believe in God or whoever you believe in the universe, it was time. And we're going to be devastated. It's the present and it's temporary. What's next? Let's focus on
as
that.
yeah, and as I follow Buddhism, and Buddhism is all based on impermanence and non-attachment, and that everything is impermanent. And the more attached we are to things, the hard it doesn't mean don't love people and don't
Absolutely.
enjoy stuff, but it's when we're grasping so hard, things in our hands so hard, it's still something's going to leak out. It doesn't matter, water will leak right through your hands. So for me, whatever anyone believes in, I think that's a universal thing too, like what you were saying. Believing in God tapping you on your shoulder, or believing where the Buddha said everything's impermanent and you have to be as non-attached as possible. And I'm applying all of that. I
Good.
think I'm 10 days out now. So yeah, see, this is the third day I didn't wake up crying. And that to me is a really positive thing. And I'm starting to find the laughter again. And I've been getting hundreds of emails have been swirling around of memories and pictures and great stuff that we did. Somebody sent me a commercial I did with him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so now he's in my heart. He always will be, and I carry him with me. And now I'm getting past the how could this possibly happen, and then being angry, and now I'm settling more into the joy that and the time we spent together. And he's connected a bunch of people who may have gotten out of touch or didn't know each other. Like this person produced something I was in, and we never became friends or didn't really interact. But now we're connected because he's still around, but he produced something that my brother directed and I was in.
Yep.
So that's a really positive thing. A really positive
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for the time
Oh, this
on
has
the
been
show.
so
Thank you
great.
very much for joining us.
Diane, yeah.
Thank you.
And I don't know what your next venture is or when your next step is, but you're welcome to come back and talk about the next point of life, a pivot point of your
Would
life.
love to.
And thank you for joining us, and I hope the audience got a lot of information. Obviously, a lot of
I'm
good
sure they did.
information.
Find her on Instagram. Please
Yeah.
find her on
So
Instagram if you're on there.
you want to give out your credentials and
So my Instagram is Diane Britt-Smith, Diane BrittSmith. That's the best place to find me.
okay.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next week, Monday.
Thank you for the opportunity. You guys have been fantastic. I enjoyed
Right.
talking to you.
As
Thank
have you. And thanks everybody to our viewers. I love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.